Song Talk Radio.
Welcome to Song Talk Radio, the show with songwriters talking to other songwriters about the craft of songwriting. We share tips, tools, and techniques, and together we all become better at writing songs. Dialing in from our Toronto headquarters, I'm Neil Modi, and with me, my co-host Phil Emery. How are you doing, Phil?
I am sweaty and surprised today. In St. John's, Newfoundland, it's actually like 30 degrees here, which it almost never is, especially this time of the year, and it's been great. But we almost had to turn on the AC, so it's been a very confusing day for lots of the locals and myself as well. But I'm not complaining, but happy to be here anyways.
Great to have you, and welcome to summer. That's awesome.
Yes, we've actually had a better summer than Toronto. So,
well, yeah. What can I do? Right. For everyone else, please send your comments, questions at Song Talk Radio on Facebook or Instagram, or feedback at songtalk.ca for the email, and we'll share your thoughts on the show. And please visit songtalk.ca to see the show post for this episode, to find links to resources we mention, and to download lyric and chord sheets to follow along with the songs that we feature. Tonight, we're happy to welcome Canadian children's music artist Heather Feather to the show. How are you doing, Heather?
Doing great, thanks.
So glad you could join us on the show. Great to have you. Before we get to Heather's wonderful song, just another heads up about our songwriting challenge for 2025 is to write a song in an odd time signature. And of course, if you check out the sidebar at songtalk.ca, there's a link there to our webpage for the songwriting challenge. There's a bunch of videos, previous episodes, some other resources and things, so you get yourselves learned up. And of course, as usual, Phil and I will share our answers to the challenge, and then we'll share our listeners' answers to the challenge, which is always a great time. So Look forward to keep tuned to the podcast and keep tuned to that webpage. We'll be posting up dates and deadlines and things like that very soon. Have you started on your challenge yet, Phil?
No.
Okay.
I thought about it.
Me neither. Yeah, me too. I've thought about it. I've thought about the approach I want to take, but I haven't got a single note or a single lyric or a title down yet. So
I'm gonna have to re-listen to our show on because I don't know if I remember everything. It's been a very stressful last couple of months. So
fair enough. Right. Yeah. Spend an afternoon just like take a deep dive. Is it word?
Well, I know a good podcast about it, so it's okay.
Yeah, I've heard of one or two. Yeah, myself. Yeah. and then there's ours, of course. Okay. We're going to be here all night. Okay. Canadian children's artist Heather Feather is pleased to announce her second studio album, Together, out on June 27, 2025. The 2025 ECMA Children's Artist of the Year Award recipient holds a PhD in music theory from McGill, a Bachelor of Music from Memorial University, and is a fearless disability advocate, recently partnering with international advocacy group RAMPed, recording artists and music professionals with disabilities. Focused on social and emotional development, the album explores concepts and development in a direct and creative manner that is clear and accessible for young listeners. With straightforward lyrics and thoughtfully crafted melodies, the album emphasizes empathy, inclusion, and real-life experiences such as being left out, celebrating others, and learning how to belong. Drawing on her academic training and musical fluency in folk, jazz, and indie music, Heather designed the songs to align with both the child's cognitive development and emotional world. Her music has been described by CBC as appealing to kids' intelligence. Great to have you on the show, Heather.
It's really great to be here. Thanks.
Wonderful to have you. And we're going to get started here. We're going to take a listen to Heather's song, A Fishy Tale. And remember, you can find the lyric sheet on the show post at songtalk.ca to follow along. Let's take a listen.
One little fish went to swim in the deep. He said, I wish I had a friend to play hide and seek. And so he looked and he listened and he shouted hello. And a seahorse came along to play. Now there were two sea creatures swimming in the deep. They said, we'd like another friend to play hide and seek. And so they looked and they listened and they shouted hello. And a jellyfish deep. They said we'd like another friend to play hide and seek. And then along came a shark who said, can I play too? The others thought, uh-oh, what do we do? Oh, what do we do? The shark looked scary with his pearly white teeth, but maybe he was nice and friendly underneath. And the shark said, hey, you're in a great mood. I'd love to join your party. Do you have any food? So the friends looked at each other and said, well, this was fun, but you know, Mr. Shark, we'd better run. The shark looked sad. He said, I love to bake. I was hoping you would share some of my birthday cake.
Birthday cake!
Birthday cake! They made and they played the new best friends. At the end of the day, they said, let's do this again. We're so happy that we met you today. It was brave of you to ask us to play. It takes real courage to meet someone new. They might look big or scary, but that just isn't true. If you meet someone who's got nothing to hide, they just might have the biggest heart on the inside. Ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-ba, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, ba-ba-da, ba-da-da, ba-da-da-ba-da.
So cool.
Wonderful.
So when you're writing a song like this, do you start off with sort of a point you're wanting to make, or is it something you start off with the music and then that the lyrics come from that, or what is the process with writing children's songs? I've never written a children's song.
So usually the message comes first, and a snippet of melody. Because when you're working with children, you have to think in tiny chunks, because there has to be something that's memorable, like a motif. But the motif has to be repetitive enough that the child can get it the second or third time that you do the song or the verse. And then you want to have the message in the background. So for me, I wanted it to be a flip on what you think it's going to be. And I have a couple of songs like this on the album where I knew that I wanted people to think it was a simple counting song. There are so many children's songs where we're just counting things. And this one, for me, I knew I wanted it to be, don't judge a book by its cover. It's a song about prejudice. It's a book about what you think at first sight, about racism. Like, there are so many things, depending on the age of the kids that you're working with, that you could bring into this. And just because he's a shark, you know, like sometimes there's a kid in your class and he just grew before everybody else and he's a foot taller than everyone else. That doesn't mean you should be afraid of him, right?
That was
Especially
me.
new to your school. He needs a friend. So I wanted it to be a double surprise too. Like, the shark joins, what should we do? And then I thought, well, we could say there that he had something. And then I was like, no. You got to make it even scarier. So he says, do you have any food? So that the kids are absolutely certain, okay, he's going to eat us. So I really wanted to drive that home. I put in that extra verse on purpose and then turned it into the moral lesson.
When you are writing a song like this, are you sort of targeting an age range? Like, because there's a lot of words to this song. Like, there's not a lot of repetition. There's a couple of lines that repeat, but there's a lot of, it's like just a long story. So what age would that be? Is it 5 or what?
Yeah. So I'm thinking starting at about 4, you can understand the moral. So this is more of a teaching song, like a teaching artist song. So I'll be doing some tours in schools for grades K to 6, starting in 2026, and in French and English. And this song will definitely be about don't judge book by its cover. That's the social emotional lesson for this one. So it's meant to be playful so that if I go and I give a concert, the older kids are the ones that get the lesson. They get the joke. But the children, I mean, there are also actions to this, right? So there was one sea creature swimming in the deep. He said, I'd like some friends to play hide and seek. So he looked, he listened, he shouted, hello. And then, you know, there's a jellyfish. There's the seahorse, it's kind of shaped like this, and then there's a narwhal, and then there's the shark. So this part of it is what the kids, the little ones, are going to be doing, right? Whereas the older ones, there's something for everyone, and there's always something for people of different ages. in all of my songs. So I try to make sure there's a lesson for the adults too. So as you grow, you get something different out of it. Like every time you hear it at a different age.
Yeah. Which is really interesting to me, because like I heard this and my brain went immediately to Five Little Monkeys, right? Which, like you say, is a counting song, is literally a counting song, right? But like, what's the moral of the story in Five Little Monkeys? Don't jump on the bed. Like, like what's like? There's no moral of the story. So what I'm wondering is this a thing? Like you're obviously, like you say, you're starting with the message, right? And is that sort of particular to your slant on children's songs, or is this a kind of a general thing in contemporary children's songs that everyone's chasing a message? Or no, that's just me.
There are some people that really do a lot of social justice work. The Alphabet Rockers, they won the Grammy for Best Children's Album. Is it 2 or 3 years ago? And theirs was mostly about anti-racism. They had a song called Shine, Let the Melanin in my skin, How to Be an Ally, I Will Stand Up for You. A lot of really great songs, and I really associate with that kind of children's songs. I do have some silly stuff too. And a lot of people specialize in the silly stuff, and then there's everything in between. Right. For me, it's really a chance to educate, but then to spark a conversation, because I don't know what they're going to take from it. It's the thinking process of you know what I mean? That spark. That's what helps kids grow when they ask questions.
Yeah. But like you say too, like you're also very particular about your melodies and about the musical construction, as to, because you got to have that to draw them in. You can't just hit them over the head with a message, right? You got to be able to draw them in with something fun and something catchy and something memorable that's going to hook them, so to speak, right? And then you deliver your your thing within the context of a fun story, right? So even then, it's still,
so this hook is just the simple little, like, oh, what's the next action, and it's fun when you're performing. Then all of a sudden it gets turned on its head. I really like implication realization theory, Leonard Meyer's work. I don't know if you've done a lot of like psychology of music theory, of composition, can be used in popular song, or as well, like it would explain, like in a symphony, when like the recapitulation comes back and the theme comes back at the end of the song, but it's in the wrong key. Ha ha ha! That's so very funny. Like this kind of thing. You have these structures when you're a songwriter that you expect that you're going to get, like you said, the Five Little Monkeys, but then it flips upside down. And so that's one of the fun things to do with kids' songs too, is to keep them guessing, right? It's part of the entertainment. Take the expected pattern and switch it. So I don't do that with the melody in this one. I do it with some others, with either the melody or the lyrics, or like a modulation you don't expect. Sometimes there's like in a 4/4 song, there's a do 4 measure. We might do a 3 measure. Just something that's a little
off kilter.
Yeah, exactly. To kind of do the reset to highlight there's something going on here.
In some ways, you can do stuff with kids' music that would be, you might not do in adult, with air quotes, music, that you wouldn't maybe do quite so consciously, because there's a couple of modulations in this song, which is kind of like, it's actually a pretty complicated bit of music. It's not like, I think a lot of people think of children's music as being very simple, but this is actually quite elaborate, in terms of lyrics and music. So it
was kind of one of the goals with the album. I think that whenever I write, everything starts off as a teaching lesson, because I spend most of my time working with kids in a classroom, and I service like one-off contracts, but then also like working with 5 or 6 preschools and schools throughout the school year. And I'm going to all these different places. And so I'm taking what each school needs, not only for their curriculum, but like what's going on in that classroom. Like this child is grappling with this. So let's write a song about that. And then taking it, and it starts simply, right? But then crafting it into something later, like you're saying, with modulations and embellishing the story and just like you would with any song.
Yeah, is there a limit to that? Like how far do you want to push it, or can you just go? Because there is that feeling, I guess, on the face of it, that a children's song has to be very simple and stripped down, and it doesn't have anything in there for adults, right? But you're pushing that so that it's more interesting in other ways as well, right?
I think that as long as there's something that's simplistic enough to attract the child and want to listen,
yeah,
that there's nothing that's keeping me from putting something fun in it, that for an older person as well to take something from it, kind of like the Easter eggs in Disney movies, the Muppet Show, like some of the humor in the old Muppet shows.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
no 5-year-old going to get that.
No.
If you're sitting there as mom or dad or grandpa, I mean, you're killing yourself laughing.
Oh
right?
It's brilliant.
For sure.
I love the Muppets.
Yeah. And I have a lot of friends that are children's artists that really do think like this when they write. And they're like, no, I'm going to put that in there. Let's see if anyone gets it,
Right. Yeah. Which is a great place to be, because like you say, like, some of those other songs that are just, I mean, the whole idea of the silly factor is an interesting question for me too. Like, how silly are you going to get? I mean, obviously you got, sea creatures having a conversation and a birthday cake right? And underwater. Okay. So that's about as silly as you get, which is a great place to be. But at the same time,
it's not a terribly silly song, really.
It's not overly silly. No, by any stretch.
It's just fun. It's fun. We're playing hide and seek. Who doesn't like a game of hide and seek?
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Well, the police, I would imagine. But what? Now, when you have these songs done, very often we would play them to other songwriters, and we do a meetup so that you can play your songs to other songwriters and get feedback from other songwriters, as opposed to just people saying, "Oh, that's a nice song." Do you play your songs to kids to sort of see how they respond? How does that work?
Well, that's exactly how I choose what I'm going to record, because everything is created with the need in mind. And then I often do bring it into the classroom. And it's the stuff that the teacher says, that's a really good one. We could use that one recorded. Or the kids really like, and they keep singing it. Then that's one to record too.
Did you ever take that kind of reply and then make revisions?
Yes, always. Actually, I'll show you. I don't have my primary songbook here that I use. Here's one. I haven't recorded it yet, but we were talking about what are the signs of spring with a group of 4-year-olds. So I had written out, things are changing, it's spring. Things are changing, it's spring. Things are changing, it's spring. We see changes in spring. Very simple. A jazz turnaround. Like, I actually had a jazz band already record parts of this. It's really great.
Oh, cool.
And then I asked the kids, what do you see changing? Like, how do you know the season's changing? This is what they're learning in preschool. They wrote the verses, right?
Okay.
So then I think, well, it needs something else. So obviously it needs a bum, 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 bum. So let's go to 4. Bum, ba, ba, da, bum, bum. Then let's go to the minor. Bum, 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 bum. Ba-dum, ba-da-da-dun, dun, dun, dun. So 5 of 5, 5, and back to 1. Bum, ba-da-da-dun. So that doesn't happen in the classroom. I'm not gonna put in like a bridge idea. I'm not gonna modulate. I'm not gonna like put in secondary dominance, right? That all comes later. And then that's more of a signal of this is the part we're gonna keep coming back to. It's like the chorus. Wow. And now we're gonna go back to this open part. And then maybe when I record it, I'll leave it open so that there are open verses for the children to say, this is what I see. And then they sing their lyrics.
What a great idea.
Okay.
So I could do a version like that and then have that available for teachers, which is super fun, right? So yeah, when I'm writing songs, sometimes it's just like a tiny little bit that's written and later it becomes something else,
A lot of songs, children's songs that we learn in school were, traditional. They're very, very old. They go back, hundreds of years probably. And I have noticed that people modern children's songwriters will use those melodies, which are, I guess, open source, for lack of a better word at this point, in public domain, in their own melodies. But you seem to be using very sort of modern, original melodies. Do you ever sort of go back to the trope of those old, nursery rhymes we all grew up with?
Sometimes. It's more common when I'm teaching, because the children also know those songs. So if you're going to be singing like Frère Jacques, so like it is snowing, it's so cold, dun dun dun. So yeah, I don't tend to record them. I do use them because then it's a known tune that the children will be singing with their educator anyway. So now it's only, I'll sing the first thing, now you repeat it, dun dun dun. Now you repeat it, you can make up this part, I will repeat you, So there's some of that. But that's more kind of like on the spot. Like if I was doing a concert and I wanted a filler, I would actually haul somebody up on stage and do that. And I've done that before too.
Oh, cool.
Oh, neat.
Like, why not? Especially if it's somebody who's older and they're more confident, then they might really like to share.
Yeah, for sure. So, how many tracks on this album then?
This one has 10.
And they're all 100% originals.
Yeah, actually, I'm looking at them so I can remember what's on the album.
Yeah,
absolutely. The one actually that I did borrow from a classic melody, because you're talking about reusing, is the song called Annie Ganesh. I can't remember the name of the poet that wrote the poem. It's an American after going to a haunted house in Annie Ganesh, Nova Scotia. He wrote the poem in 1890. And somebody in the US wrote it as a parlor tune. I saw a man down, I saw him out light upon the stair. I saw a man that wasn't there. He wasn't there again today. Oh, how I wish he'd go away. It's very straight. And then I think Duke Ellington recorded it in 1932, maybe. And a couple of other people. And they changed it to last night I saw him upon the stair. A little man that wasn't there, and he wasn't there again today. Oh, I wish he'd go away. So I took that and I turned it into a song about a nightmare. So I did actually reuse that. And I thought, well, that's perfect. Kids have nightmares all the time. So let's talking about nightmares and what would you do and who do you call out for and what can you tell yourself to calm yourself down. So I wrote a whole second verse based on the structure and then a bridge. And I thought, well, that's so fun. And because it was a little piece of Canadian history too, that I thought it would be nice to do. So in that case, it's not like a common melody.
No.
But it's an old melody.
Yeah.
I thought, why not? Let's actually develop that a little further.
Yeah, because I've heard people sort of do things with, green sleeves, just because it's such a common melody that everyone knows. So I've always kind of wondered about that with children's music. And it's interesting how much more kind of not present, but it's a much more interactive form of music than, often you go to a concert and you usually just, sit there and you watch them and that's okay. But with kids' music, you're really sort of thinking about, okay, how are they going to interact? How are they going to respond to it? And how do you get to pay attention? Have you noticed children's attention spans have changed? Everyone says they have, but I don't have kids, so I don't know.
I think everybody's attention spans have changed. Not
true.
Just kids. I would just say that in general, attention spans are just a lot shorter than they used to be. And I guess they could be longer, it's just that we're always looking for the next best thing, like flick, flick, flick on your phone or your tablet or.
Yeah. Well,
and of course, previous generations have said that about the previous generations or the next generation for however long. when radio came about, when TV came about, when video games came about, when
these kids with the fire. We didn't have fire when we were kids and we were fine. We froze to death and we loved it.
Well, the very first song on the album has a very strong hook and it's very repetitive on the chorus. It's really only two notes. It's only
Yeah.
scale degrees 1 and 6. And I really wanted to be kind of like when you go to, who was it, Coldplay? That they do these like repeated things and everyone's going, hey, oh, right? I wanted this kind of a thing where the kids could sing along and adults would sing along too.
Mhm.
And I put that one out as the first single. It actually did pretty well on adult radio. And I think because it's so easy to sing along with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's what I wanted to ask you too, because it's like, I'm kind of generalizing here, but these kind of melodies, as original as they are, they're still kind of nursery rhymey in the sense that they're going up the scale, they're going down the scale mostly, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're just going 1 to 6, 1 to 6, then it's kind of a more contemporary, modern sensibility, even in, all across pop music, where the melodies are not that kind of like they're not going up and down, right? And I don't know, is that a thing? And I find that most children's music is, I mean, and most, I don't listen to a lot of it, obviously, but you know, like a lot of children's music is that it's going up and down the scale as opposed to staying on one note or doing a vamp between two notes kind of thing.
Yeah, so I kind of wanted to tap into a bit of that too, because I do have friends that do songs that are totally like, it could be heard at a club, but it's for kids and it's about hamburgers.
Okay.
That I really like hamburgers. My friend Ronnie wrote one of those, and it's got like a couple of million streams. And the background just goes burger, 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 with the cheese. Burger, 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 burger. Yeah, I can't even do it. Like, I don't know if he recorded this or if he looped himself or what. But it's called Burger. You can look it up. Ronnie Boy Kids Burger. Like million streams, Burger. Yeah. And it is a good song. I played it at a scout camp, and all the kids were like, oh, yeah. I mean, it's a real, like, you could totally play that at a club if it wasn't about burger. Actually, you probably could still play it at a club.
I'm sure you could, yeah.
Just write down Burger by Ronnie Boy Kids. So I wanted to do something like that. So my song's called Party. So it's kind of like a Stevie Wonder ostinato running through it. I didn't want to have a 5 chord in it. There's no 5 chord. It was a challenge. So I wrote a tritone sub. So it goes through 1 to 4 to 1, and then flat 2, flat 6, flat 2, 1. So there's no 5. So it's funky, right? And then the words are just party. We're having a party, and everyone is welcome to the party. Put your hands in the air, because it's a party. It's a party. We're having a party, and everyone is welcome to the party. Just repeated twice. And then, it's more like I don't know, it's more like something you'd hear on contemporary radio. I would call it like neo-funk, maybe.
Yeah. So when you're writing a song, like, do you think at some point I'm going to write a song for, I don't know, 3-year-olds, which would be even simpler? Or do you try to do sort of like a wide berth of ages?
I keep it wide. My first album, I was more narrow, and I tried to have something for every age. And you can hear what it is on each one. Like, there's a song, Sleeping Bunnies. That is like a popular tune that's, I think it was originally Scottish. Very straight. See the little bunnies sleeping till it's nearly noon. Shall we wake them? Right, but I wanted to do Charlie Parker, so we did a bebop. But it was still for the 2-year-olds, right? It's still like sleep, wake up, you know. So this one I wanted to have a wider range in each one. So the little one's like the bop of the party, but the message is, if you walk or if you roll, if you use a walker or a cane or a chair, just come in the door. It don't matter how you move, it matters that you came. 'Cause everyone in the world is unique, but we're all the same at this party. We're having a party. So it's all about like equity, diversity, inclusion.
Do you when you are writing these, I don't know, I had a really good question, and it's totally got out of my brain. My phone made a noise, and I got all flabby.
Distracted.
I'm sorry.
Well, actually, no. I remember the a lot of your melodies, the way you're handling them, they're very jazzy, have lots of sort of syncopation.
Yeah.
Have you noticed if children respond to that more than the straight ahead sort of Jacques?
Oh, yeah.
They respond more to that.
Yep. They like rhythm. Kids love rhythm.
Oh,
especially musical kids. Oh, yeah. Well, kids love to dance.
Oh, yeah.
And anything that they attach to being more like what their parents are listening to, well, it's more of a connection to mom and dad. It's more of a connection to grandma, grandpa. It's not kiddie music anymore, right?
Yeah.
So
but again, things like syncopated rhythms is not too complicated, is it?
No, not really. Them. Especially if it's repetitive. That's the thing. Like, it's like if you're going to teach it in the classroom and you were the music teacher, then you would be repeating the cell multiple times to make sure the kids got it, right? So it's the same kind of thing. It's not really any different. Kids are pretty smart. We just have to, make sure that we meet them, not necessarily where we think they are, but where they could be and what they are capable of.
Right.
Challenge them. Let them try, And so I always want that in there. So you never know what you're going to get. That's part of the fun.
That's true.
Yeah. Yeah.
Of course, Puff the Magic Dragon, which was a big hit for, was the Mama and the Papas? Yeah, the Mama and the Papas. And that is such a horribly sad song. And I think that affected me very much as going, and that's I think why I fell in love with the Smiths so much, because it's just about as gloomy as Puff the Magic Dragon. What's a terribly sad song. Some of the stuff we used to teach the kids was like pretty dark.
Dark, yeah.
Which is why we rewrite a lot of it. We don't we're not going to sing "Ring Around the Rosie." I mean, you really want to teach people about the plague?
Yeah,
I mean, at you, and we all fall down. I mean, those were the original words. It was all about the plague.
Yeah.
So we that's part of being a kids musician, is rewriting things in a better light of thinking about what you're really transmitting. And do you want to be transmitting this? Is this something that's going to help somebody grow? Is this, what's the point of this?
Right. Sorry, kids' song about COVID.
Yeah. Well, there were a lot of things that came out about wash your hands. Some really big hits about wash.
Right. Okay. There you go.
Hey, don't talk good, right? Like in your sneezing your elbow, and yeah.
Right.
So what's next coming up for this? I guess you're going to be the album is released, or it's about to be released.
It was just released on Friday, so
nice.
It's exciting, and just kind of seeing it. Where it goes and
where do you send this to? Radio stations, or?
It's a really niche market, so it's odd. Like a lot of radio stations, even Party, which is pretty old. A couple of people added it into rotation, but not a lot of stations. They just said, "Well, this isn't really our vibe." And then some people say, "Well, we just don't play kids music." There's a couple of Canadian stations. Dean Clark has a show called Jigs and Reels Radio in Kitchener, Ontario, and he has a Newfoundland show. So he put it on that with all the adult music. He's like, why not? This is every bit quality is good, so let's hear it. That was super fun. So, it's getting out there. There's a lot of niche shows that play just children's music. They're either podcasts or stations. They are children's hours, primarily American, on bigger stations. So this one called Saturday Morning Cereal Bowl. That one's out of Pittsburgh. There's Radioactive Kids out of Asheville, North Carolina. I'm going to be live with them on Saturday morning. Most of the shows are 2 hours. They run from 8 to 10. So it's, parents can sleep in and you put the radio on for your kid. And then they have it
Nice.
the podcast running at the same time so they can set it up by the internet. And instead of the kids watching TV, they're listening instead. And yeah, so it's, there's kids.radio. Michael, I'm trying to remember Michael's last name. I think Moyers. He's out of California. And so it's an alternative to Spotify. It's just for kids.
Okay.
Like if there was Apple Music, it's just for kids.
So do you do like a normal digital distribution thing a singer-songwriter would do, or is it?
Yes.
But you go more specific than that in terms of getting on particular playlists or stations or whatever.
Right. So it's
Right.
very difficult to get on a playlist. That is wickedly difficult as a children's artist because there's very few that are actually curated like if you're talking about Spotify, there's only one or two children's playlists that are curated by Spotify. And in terms of getting on like Sirius XM, there's no entry from Canada. And there was entry through the US. They did have a kids station. And two of the three curators were my friends. And the last of them was let go. And nobody knows who's doing it now. Like, how do you get on there? Nobody knows. So getting the radio play is difficult. But we program one another's music. And because each of us has our own little following, like you create for your kids in your area, here's the playlists on each of these themes. And so like if I've got DJ Willie Wow's song in there, and then I've got, you know, my friend Kelly Welly's song in there, and they're both on that theme of summertime, or, you know, like that's kind of how we work. Yeah. And then there's markets that are bigger than others, like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the United States are the four big ones. And the UK, And so if you can get some traction there on any kind of Spotify or Apple Music, in any kind of kids playlist, that'll get you tons of streams. So one of my songs on my first album finally took off and got over 10,000 streams, but it didn't take off until last summer. It's been out since 2022, so it just sat there for a while. And all of a sudden somebody found it and they were like, Ants in my pants, this is awesome for our summer camp. And all these people started adding it to their playlists.
Well, that's so cool. You just never know.
You never know. Exactly. Yeah. So you don't know who's out there listening. So it's the same distribution. I'm represented by Group Speed. Adrian Burke used to be with Spotify Canada. Goes out the same way.
Wow. Fascinating stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm here in the band. I think that's all the time we have on Song Talk Radio. Special thanks to Heather Feather. Of course, where can we send our listeners to find out more about you and hear some more of your music?
Well, you can look up Heather Feather Children's Music anywhere. So on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Music, Deezer, and all that stuff. And my website is heatherfeathermusic.com.
Perfect. All right. We'll put a link to that in the show post for this. And we want to hear from you too. So please send in your comments on Facebook or Instagram to @SongTalkRadio, or send us an email, feedback@songtalk.ca. Also, be sure to check out our YouTube channel for live performance videos and full episodes, and subscribe today to the Song Talk Radio podcast on your favorite podcast provider. And please support us at our Patreon page. You can visit songtalk.ca/support. Thank you to everyone who has supported us so far. You can find links to all the products, books, and web services we mentioned on Song Talk Radio on our resources page on the website. And please join us at our next monthly Song Talk meetup. Whether you're in Toronto for in-person meetups or anywhere in the world for our online meetups, it's free to join on Eventbrite and free to attend the meetup. Bring a song and a lyric sheet and get constructive feedback from other songwriters. Stop by songtalk.ca for the link. You can follow me at neilmodi.com. You can follow Phil.
philemery.ca.
And Heather, what's your favorite social media channel? Where do you post the most?
Probably Instagram. Heather Feather Children's Music on Instagram.
Perfect. Be sure to follow Heather there. And be sure to stop by the website, songtalk.ca, to browse past shows and find out how you can be a guest. Thanks for tuning in, and keep on writing.
Good night, everyone.
So long.